opening prayer. This prayer is from the Bhagavad Gita itself. You know, remember in the 11th chapter, it's a very beautiful prayer, Arjuna's prayer to Sri Krishna. When Bhagavan Krishna shows the universal form, Vishwarupa, very nice prayer, nice to chant. So this is actually on page 80 of the book Universal Prayers. It's also in the Gita book. All of your Gita book, so you can go to chapter 11 and verse number 39. This is that sloka, 11:39. Om Vayuryamognirvarunashashankah Prajapatistvam Prapitamahascha Namo Namastestu Sahasrakritma Punescha Bhujopi Namo Namaste. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Lord, you are the God of wind, you are the God of death and of fire, the God of waters and of moon. You are the creator, you are the creator of the creator. Salutations to thee 1,000 times, and again, salutations to thee. Om peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. May there be peace everywhere in nature. So let us continue. Chapter 7. We have to do verse number 24. We'll try to finish chapter 7 today and a brief review. Let us see. Verse number 24. Avyaktam yaktimapanam manyante mavabuddhayaha param bhavamajanantava mamavyayamanutamam. The translation is, they, the undiscriminating and witless ones, consider me, the ever-present Lord, who is unmanifested or unrevealed, as become manifested or revealed now. This verse says, actually the reality is unmanifest. Unmanifest means it has no name and form, cannot be perceived by the senses or thought of by the mind. Mind cannot conceptualize God, speech cannot describe, sense organs cannot reach, cannot perceive. That is the unmanifest nature of the reality, which you call Brahman in the Upanishads. It is pure consciousness. If something is of a material nature, we can see it, hear it, touch it, think about it, etc. But this is not material in nature, it is pure consciousness. One of the 4 Mahavakyas in the Upanishads, it says, Prajnanam Brahma. Brahman is pure consciousness. But ordinary people, they cannot think of something which has no name and form. We are accustomed to seeing things which have names and forms. Everything we see is manifest. It has a shape, size, color, other qualities. With those qualities, we can understand, perceive objects. But if something has no attributes, no qualities at all, then how can we see it? So we create forms. We attribute forms to God. God himself is formless, attributeless. Brahman, ultimate reality, Prajnanam, pure consciousness. But for our convenience, we ascribe so many different names and forms to God. And that is not the only thing. Each person holds on to one of those forms and says that is the final truth. There's nothing else besides that. We limit God to one form or the other. That is where we make the mistake. People fight this form of God that I worship, that's the only form of God. The form of God that you worship is not true. You should come and worship as I worship. Like this, religious bigotry, fanaticism, they all come because of this inability of people to perceive the ultimate reality as formless, attributeless reality. That is being described here in verse number 24. Abuddhayaha. You see the word abuddhaya at the end of the first line. Mam abuddhayaha. Mam means me. Buddhi means intellect. Buddhi means intellect. Abuddhayaha means people who don't have high intelligence. Those who cannot think deeply and grasp subtle truths. Such people who are not very sharp, don't have a bright, sharp intellect, such people, Mam avyaktam. Avyaktam means unmanifest, no name form, pure consciousness. Yaktimapannam anyante. They think of me as being, as having name and form. We ascribe name and form to God. Actually, in reality, Brahman has no name and form. We ascribe for our convenience and then start fighting. Mama param bhavam ajanantaha. Ajananta means not understanding. Those people who don't understand my supreme form. Param bhavam means supreme form. Mam avyayam anuttamam. Anuttamam means unsurpassed. Uttama means the highest, best. Anuttama means something that cannot be surpassed. There is nothing higher than that one. Superlative. Mam anuttamam mama param bhavam ajanantaha. Not understanding me, who is unsurpassed, who is supreme, not understanding my form, my nature, bhava, which is param, supreme. People limit me to one form and then start fighting. Numerous forms are attributed to God. That is the limitation of people who cannot grasp subtle truths. To be able to understand the reality, actually intellectually it is not possible. We can't intellectually understand God. Then how do we know God? By experience only. Anubhavaika vedyam. Only by experience things have to be known. Not by description, not by hearing description of God or reading about God in books. That's not the way to know God. We have to experience it. Many things are like that. Many ordinary experiences cannot be explained in words. Sri Ramakrishna gives an example. There was a household and there was a young lady who just recently got married. And that young lady had a younger sister, 5-year-old little girl, younger sister. Whenever the husband, son-in-law came to the family, everybody will be very happy. And the newly married girl will be very joyful all the time. And the younger girl noticed it. And the younger girl asked the older sister, when that person comes, why you are so, suddenly you become so happy, and when he leaves, you don't seem to be happy? Then the older girl says, you can't understand it. When you grow up and you marry, then you will understand why I am so happy when he comes. So certain experiences cannot be explained in words. They have to be known by experience only. God has to be known only by experience. All the scriptures tell us how to get experience of God. Various spiritual practices described. But we have to go through the practices and gain the experience ourselves, then only we can know God. Otherwise, intellectually trying to understand God and fighting, this is the only way we can worship God, this is the only form of God, that creates a lot of problems. So that is being described in verse number 24. What I like to do is to read a short paragraph from Dr. Radhakrishnan's commentary on this verse. Dr. Radhakrishnan has written a Bhagavad Gita commentary. It is verse number 24. So he says, the forms we impose on the formless are due to our limitations. We turn away from the contemplation of ultimate reality to concentrate upon imaginative reconstructions. All gods except the one unmanifest eternal are forms imposed on him, imposed by us on him. God is not one among many. He is the one behind the ever-changing many, who stands beyond all forms, the immutable center of endless mobility. He is the one unchanging reality behind all the changing things that we have to perceive and experience our oneness with it ultimately. So that is verse number 24. And verse number 25 and 25, Bhagavan Sri Krishna explains the power of Maya. Because of the power of Maya, everything is covered and something else is projected. Maya has two aspects. One is called Avarana Shakti. Avarana Shakti. Avarana means covering something. Second aspect of Maya is called Vikshepa Shakti. Vikshepa Shakti. Vikshepa means projecting something, like projecting a movie on a white screen. Maya does both to conceal reality from us. Reality is within us all. God is within us all as the very center of our personality, the very Atman. All the time he is there, whether we know it or not. Has always been there. But we are not aware of God's presence within us. Why we are not aware, though he is present within us all the time? Because Maya has covered the presence of God. And on top of that, projected the whole universe. So we are so fascinated by the projection that we don't look inwards. We look towards the world. Everything is so interesting. I want to have it. I want to do that. I want to go there. That is what we are doing. We are fascinated by the projection. Projected image we are seeing outside. We are not looking in the right direction, namely inside, where we can find his presence. His presence is covered, and top of that, something else is, universe is projected. So our attention is diverted from God to the outside world. Sri Ramakrishna gives an example in the gospel. If there is a very rich man, he has a very big mansion with a garden and he has a lot of property, servants and everything. And when a person goes to see the rich man, the visitor is fascinated by the property. Oh, such a big mansion, so many rooms, so many servants, so many gardens, everything. And he forgets to see the owner of the house. He's so fascinated, the visitor is so fascinated by the wealth of the owner that he's forgotten to see the owner. He's attracted to the wealth. That's what we are doing. The owner of this universe, creator, is the Lord himself. It is he whom we have to see. Instead of that, we are fascinated by his creation, which is so fantastic. That is what is happening. We should not allow that to happen in our lives. We should withdraw our attention from the outside world, no matter how attractive it appears to be. Focus our attention on the self within. This is described in the Upanishads. There is a very nice verse in the Upanishad which says, the 5 sense organs we have, sense organs of perception, they are so fascinated by the outside world that the eyes want to see something interesting, something beautiful, ears wants to hear something pleasant, nose wants to smell something pleasant, and tongue wants to taste something pleasant. We, becoming so absorbed in the outside world, we forget to see the divine presence within us. That we should not do in our lives. So that is the message in verse number 24 and 25. 25 also. Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavritaha modho yam nabhijanati loko mamajamavyayam. Verse number 25. Aham means me, I, the Lord, na aham. Sarvasya na prakashaha, I am not visible to everybody. Prakasha means one is visible. I am not visible to everybody. Naham prakasha sarvasya. Why? Because he is yoga maya samavritaha. He is covered by the yoga maya, power of maya. Maya is his power. That's why he keeps the universe going. If maya is not there, everybody will realize that there's no creation. And this question was asked of Sri Ramakrishna in the gospel. One devotee asked Sri Ramakrishna, why does God create this maya and keep us deluded in this world? Why not we all see God and realize the truth? Sri Ramakrishna says, this world creation is like a hide and seek game that the Divine Mother is playing. She wants the game to continue. If everybody touches the grandmother, everybody is blindfolded, they have to touch the grandmother. If somebody touches grandmother, then that child's blindfold is removed and is released from the game. If everybody touches the grandmother, then there is no game. The game ends, creation ends. She doesn't want it. She wants the creation to continue. So once in a while, she will give all knowledge to somebody, releases that person to a rare person, as is saw in the 19th verse. And then other people she will keep deluded for some more time. They have to keep on going round and round in this game of life. And then finally, everybody will be released one by one, not at the same time. That is Yoga Maya Samavritaha. I am covered by my own Yoga Maya power of covering and projection. I am Lokaha, this world, Mudaha Loka, this unintelligent world. World means people. These unintelligent people, I am Lokaha, Mudaha Lokaha, Mam Ajam Avyayam na Abhijanati. Na Abhijanati, cannot understand, does not understand me who is birthless, Ajam. Avyayam, who is imperishable, eternal. My true nature is no beginning, no end, infinite, eternal. Ordinary people who are deluded by the world, attracted, fascinated by the world outside, by the sense objects, they do not understand my imperishable, eternal nature. They remain fascinated by the world. So what we have to do is to turn our attention from the outside sense objects, no matter how interesting, fascinating they may be, and focus our attention on the self within. That is what we do in spiritual practice. When you do meditation, we stop all outside perception, objects. We don't see things, we don't hear things, we don't touch things, we don't eat anything. We focus your attention entirely on the self within, on our Ishtadevata or on the self within. That is what we have to do. Otherwise, most ordinary people, they don't do that one. They are so fascinated by the outside world. Their whole life is spent in pursuing outside things, acquiring things and property and money and family, children, grandchildren, position, power, fame, entertainment. This is how time goes. That is something that we should not do. Instead, we should focus our attention on the self within by doing any kind of spiritual practice. Simplest spiritual practice is repetition of God's name or mantra. Then other kinds of practices like holy company, little bit of understanding scriptures, but not scholarship, knowing the essence of scriptures, holy company, serving the poor, seeing the presence in them, practice of compassion, meditation, worship of all kinds, or service. All these things have to be done in some combination depending upon ability and resources. Everybody cannot do everything. Whatever is possible to each one of us, that we have to find out and do. That's how we have to turn our attention from the outside world Not be fascinated by it so much that we forget God and focus our attention on the divine presence within us all. God is present within us all the time. He is there. Whether we are aware of it or not, He is there. That is the message in verses number 24, 25. Then the Lord says in verse number 26, Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. Aham samatitani vartamani cha veda. All the things that have passed, that was in the past. Samatitani. Samatitani means those which have ceased to exist, existed at some point. Now they are no longer in existence. Such things. Vartamanani. Those things which are present now. People, animals, plants, things, all of nature present now. Vartamanani. Bhavishyani. Those which are yet to come into existence, which are not there. That means covers everything. Those things that were not there, that were there before, not present now, those are samatitani. Those things which are present now, vartamanani. Those things which are not present now, but will come into existence in the future, bhavishyani. All of those three things, aham veda. You see the word veda in the beginning, aham veda. Vedaham means aham veda. I know all of those things. God is omniscient. He knows everything, sarvagnya. Our knowledge is extremely limited, infinitesimal knowledge. Only a little bit we know of this whole creation of God. But the Lord knows everything because He is the creator. He knows everything. Vartamanani bhutani, beings. Mam tu vedana kaschana. Kaschana means no one, anyone, no veda. Does not understand, cannot know me. Mom means me. People don't know me, but I know everything. Past, present, and future I know, but people cannot understand me. This you can see in Sri Ramakrishna's life. Whenever any new person went for the first time to see Sri Ramakrishna, instantly by looking at that person, he would know his past, present, and future. What was his past? What's he doing now? What will be his future? His spiritual potential? Where is he in his spiritual life? All those things he would instantly know by just looking at that person once. Because he was Sarvagnya, he knew everything. God himself, he knows everything. But how much can we understand of people like Sri Ramakrishna? We can't understand. Though we say his incarnation and all that, really we can't understand his true nature, his divine nature. We cannot understand. Some people dismissed him as a mad person. Some people thought he was a holy man. Some people thought he was a sadhu. Some people thought, a few people thought he was the incarnation. So our ability to understand things is very limited, ordinary people. But Lord himself knows everything, past, present, and future. That is verse number 26. Now we go to verse number 27. Again, the power of ignorance covering us is being described in this.
Swamiji, you're again muted. Swamiji, you're muted.
Okay, something is happening. It mutes itself. Okay. All right. 27. Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. In this verse 27, Bhagavan Sri Krishna explains how we become deluded. Why we become deluded? Why can't we all know the truth? Why can't we all say God? That is being explained. The reason for ignorance is being explained in verse number 27. It says, Sarva Bhutani, all the beings, only people, animals cannot understand God or anything. They are simply working out their past karma. They cannot do any new karma, good or bad. So that they are out of question. Only people can understand God, human beings. Sarva Bhutani means all beings in creation, especially human beings. Sarge means at the time of birth. Time of birth, that means from the beginning. Sammoham yanti, second line, sammoham yanti, become deluded. Moha means delusion. Delusion means not knowing the truth, but misunderstanding things. Delusion also means thinking that something which cannot give happiness will give happiness. That is the main delusion. Main delusion people suffer from is thinking that something which cannot give happiness is able to give happiness. Expecting to find happiness where it cannot be found. That's the main delusion. We try to find happiness in all the things of the world, property, money, possessions, etc., that we know, none of them can give happiness. That is the main delusion. Spending our whole lifetime trying to find happiness in the body and objects outside, other people, animals, plants, things outside, which none of them which can give happiness. That's the main delusion we suffer from. That is moha. And we have likes and dislikes. I like this, I don't like this. That is dvandva moha. So let's go back, verse 27. Sarva bhutani sarge sammoham yanti. All beings have this delusion, ignorance, samoha, ignorance. At the time of creation, they are born with it. Previous samskaras are there. When this birth happens, from the childhood, we are covered with this ignorance. How this ignorance comes? Dvandva moha. Dvandva moha means, dvandva means pairs of opposites. Nirdvandva bhava in 245, Sri Krishna said to Arjuna, become free from dvandva, from the oscillation between good and bad. Pain and pleasure, love and hatred, likes and dislikes, good and bad, all of these are pairs of opposites. They are called dvandva, dvandva moha. This dvandva moha delusion, because of this dvandva, pairs of opposite which we have, we all have likes and dislikes. A yogi does not have likes and dislikes. Everything is same, everything is Brahman. But we have strong likes and dislikes. I like this person very much, I don't like that person. I like this food very much, I dislike that food. We are covered by the dvandva, all of us. We have to overcome that dvandva. See, say everything as same, everything as divine. That is knowledge. Being covered by dvandva, governed by these pairs of opposites, is ignorance. So, sarva bhutani, all the beings, dvandva mohena, by the pairs of opposites, causing delusion. How did this dvandva come? From where? Ichha dvesha samuthena. Ichha dvesha. Ichha means liking something, strong liking for something. Dvesha means strong dislike for something. That is what creates the dvandva in our minds. I like this, I don't like this. That comes from beginning. Even children have that one. If you give some broccoli child, it pushes it away. I don't like broccoli. I want cooking. See, how does his like and dislike up to the child? It's a child, but it has strong likes and dislikes. From where does it come? This ignorance, inborn ignorance. Dvandva mohena ichha dvesha samuthena. The ignorance is caused by raga dvesha. Ichha dvesha. Ichha means raga. Likes, attachment, dislike. Dvesha means dislike. That comes from the beginning. Because of previous samskaras. We are born with a package, heavy baggage. We are not born free. We are born, we took birth because we had baggage to work out, karma baggage we had. Otherwise, not when we born at all. So that karma baggage we have carried from previous births. Because of that, likes and dislikes start from beginning of our life. Sarge means from the beginning of our life. Sammoham yanti, we become deluded from beginning of our life because of Dvandva moha, pairs of opposite. Why Dvandva comes? Ichha dvesha, likes and dislikes. You can see from beginning, children themselves have very strong likes and dislikes. So we have to overcome that. What is the solution then? The solution is already given in second chapter. Let me see if I can find the verse 45. You don't have to go to that, I will read it. 45. 40. 43. Give me a minute. Okay. Second chapter, verse 45. Sri Krishna describes this dvandva. It says in 245, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastho Niryoga Kshema Atmaman. All the things in this world described by the Vedas, everything in this world is qualified by the three gunas, governed by three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. What we have to do, we have to become free from dvandva, likes and dislikes. I like something, I don't like. I don't like something. That is nirdvandvo bhava. The first word in second line, nirdvandvo bhava. Bhava comes on the end of the first line. Bhava, nirdvandva bhava. You become free from dvandva, pair of opposite. That is the instruction given to us. If you become free from the pairs of opposites, like strong likes and dislikes, then our delusion will go away, will recede, and that will pave the way for knowledge and devotion. That is what we have to do. We have to make our likes and dislikes less sharp. It's okay, some things we can like a little bit, dislike a little bit. To some extent, it is acceptable, but strong likes and I hate you, I hate this food, children say. Very strong. That we should not allow that to happen in our minds. Remaining calm, everything is divine, everything is pure, everything is Brahman. If you see divinity in all, likes and dislikes will go away. We like everything. Even the most wicked, we see God in that presence of that wicked person. As Holy Mother saw in Amzad, many people who had then committed sins went to her on a daily basis, but she would welcome everybody. Come, my child, come, my child. Give them initiation and saved them. That is seeing the same divine presence in all. That vision we have to cultivate somehow. How to do that one is not as difficult as we think. Whenever you practice this one, whenever you see somebody, whoever it may be, new person, known person, just put this thought into the mind. In this person also, God is present. Same God present in me is present in this person. Or that person may not be aware of it. He or she may not believe in it, but that's not my problem. I see God's presence in that person. If you just start putting this thought, gradually what we imagine will become our experience. Today's imagination, visualization becomes tomorrow's experience. A stage will come, a day will come by the grace of God, when we can actually see divine presence in all, as Holy Mother saw Sri Ramakrishna. So that is the practice we have to do. That is message in verse number 27. Now we go to verse number 28. 28 and 29, those two verses describe those people who have cleared their vision. By virtue of spiritual practices, they have cleared their vision, they can see God in all. They can achieve peace, knowledge, and devotion. They are being described in 28 and 29. So verse number 28. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandamoha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrata. Yesham papam yesham jananam punyakarmanam jananam papam antagatam. Papam means sin. Everybody has committed sin to some extent, some more, some less. Otherwise, we would not be here in human form. Human form has come to us because we have done a combination of good and bad. If we had done only good deeds, we would not be born again at all. We would have been heaven as realized. If you had only done bad deeds, we will be in animal form. Even birth would not have been given to us if we had not done anything good. It's combination. That means we are, our personalities have both good and bad qualities. Proportion varies, some good, some bad, and it can be changed with time also. We can become more sattvic and less tamasic. That is within us. We can do that by self-effort to some extent. Yesham papam antagatam. Those people whose sins have been worked away by dint of, by virtue of spiritual practice. Sins have been done by everybody, but many people have succeeded in doing spiritual practices and working out their sins, purifying their minds. Antagatam papam yesham janana, of those people. Punya karmanam, those who have done good deeds. Punya means auspicious deeds, good deeds. Punya karmanam, those who have done good deeds. They, such people, they dvandva moha nirmukta. They become free from the pairs of opposites, grip of the pairs of opposites. They become free from strong likes and dislikes. How do they become free from strong likes and dislikes? By saying the same divine in all. It's the only thing common to everybody. All other things are different from person to person. One thing that is common, same for everybody, is God's presence in everybody. All other things and people are different. Our thinking is different, our actions are different, our likes and dislikes are different, the way we do things are different, everything. But one thing is common that holds all of us together is the divine presence within us. That we saw in the 7th chapter. Earlier in this chapter, 7th verse. Mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana eva. We are all compared to beads in a necklace made of beads. Every bead is different, but we are all strung together by one common thread. That common thread is the divine presence. One divine presence running through all of us, holding us together. That we have to remember. Same divine is present in all. Then our likes and dislikes will become less sharp, smoother. Dvandva moha nirmukta mam bhajante. They worship me. Those people who worship me, who have become free from the grip of likes and dislikes to a large extent, those who have done good deeds, punya karmana, dridhavrataha, they have firm determination. Firm determination must be there to know God, to know the truth. Otherwise, we will not be able to achieve it. Unless we have firm determination, strong will, resolute will, that I want to know God in this life. So many lifetimes have already passed and doing so many things, this and that. This lifetime I want to see God before I'll give up this body, or the last moment even. Esha Brahmi Siti Partha Nenam Pyapi Vimukyati Sitva Sam Antakalepi. 2nd chapter, last verse. Brahmi Siti. At the last moment also, if you can see God, then this life purpose will have been fulfilled. That determination must be there. Dridhavrata means firm determination to see God. If you don't have firm determination, you cannot achieve anything. You must make it a point. So many years have already passed in this life also. For some of us, very little time is left. For some of you, more time is left, younger people. But whatever time is left, we have to use that time to the best of our ability to see God in this life. Holy Mother has promised it. Many times in her life, Holy Mother said this one thing: those who have taken the name of God, to them he will appear at the last moment, if not before. But we have to do our part. Our part is to remember God all the time, repeat his name, do good deeds, and stay away from bad thoughts and bad deeds. That's our part. He will show up at the last moment, if not sooner, she has said. This one book, Sharada Devi under Divine Play by Swami Chaitananda. There, if you read, you see many times she has repeated this one, this assurance that if we take the name of God, constantly worship God in any way we like, there are many ways of worship. Doing all work as worship, we can all try to do that one. Then what happens? He will appear at the last moment and take us to our future. He appeared to Rasika, the janitor in Dakshineshwar. He appeared to Kalipada Ghosh, who was a bohemian given to drinking and other things. He appeared to Hazra. All those people will appear to us also, but we have to do our part. Our part is written here in verse number 28. Punya karmanam antagatam papam dvandamoha nirmukta dridhavrata. These three things, four things we have to do. For determination to know God, we have to become free from strong likes and dislikes, dvandamoha nirmukta. We have to do good deeds, auspicious deeds, punya karmanam, and we have to work out our sin by repeating God's name or some such spiritual practice. That is our part. So it's a very positive message in this verse, in verse number 28. Let us go to 29 now. Jara marana mokshaya mama shritya yatanti ye te brahma tadvidu kritsnam adhyatmam karma chakhilam. In this verse 29 and 30, Sri Krishna plants a few questions. Arjuna usually asks questions at the beginning of a chapter. In this case, Sri Krishna himself purposefully, it seems, plants a few questions in Arjuna's mind so that he will ask it at the beginning of next chapter. Now, there we'll see 6-7 questions. Jara marana mokshaya mama sthitya yatanti ye. Those people who strive hard, yatanti means those who strive hard, try hard. For what? Jara marana mokshaya, to become free from birth and death. Jara means old age, marana means death. Inevitable. Once we are born, we become old and we die. That is given. Can't escape. If you want to escape the miseries of old age and death, jara marana mokshaya, moksha means release, become free from jara marana, then mam ashritya, taking refuge in, ashraya means refuge. You have to take refuge in God. Mam means me, Bhagavan is saying. If you take refuge in worldly things like property, money, etc., they will not save us. They will not come to rescue when we need. When we become old and sick, money cannot help, property cannot help, fame, position, power, none of them can help. The only thing that will help us all the time is God. We have to take refuge only in God. Mam ashritya, taking refuge in me, Bhagavan is saying. Why we should take refuge in him? To become free from the miseries of old age and death. Jara marana mokshaya. To become free from the miseries of old age and death, you have to take in God alone. Mameva ashritya, it should be. Ye yatanti, those who strive to become free from the miseries of old age and death by taking refuge in God, those people, what will happen to them? They tad brahma viduhu, they know Brahman. They will get self-knowledge, knowledge of Brahman. They will become Brahma Jnanis, knowledge of Brahman. Krishnam means all, in its entirety. They will know the truth in its entirety, not a fragmentary knowledge, but total knowledge. Krishna means all, total, everything. Krishnam Adhyatmam. Adhyatma means it will be different in next chapter. Arjuna asked about Adhyatma. What is Adhyatma? Krishna simply mentions Adhyatma. Adhyatma means the divine presence within us all. That sutra, the thread which goes to all of us, that is the Adhyatma. Divine presence in all. Adhyatma. Karma cha akhilam. All karma. The secret of karma. How karma happens, what it does. That people will know. They will gain this knowledge. Who will gain this knowledge? Those who take refuge in God alone. Why should they take refuge in God alone? To become free from the miseries of Jara Marana, old age and death. Mam yatanti. Those who strive hard. Yatanti. Those who strive hard. Then Dhrada Vrata, previous word, with firm determination. Then what else will happen to them is explained in verse number 30. Here Bhagavan says, Sadi bhutadi daivam mam sadi yajnam cha ye viduhu prayana kale pichamam te vidur yukta chetasaha. All these two verses, 39, 30, Sri Krishna is introducing several terms. He already said Brahma, Adhyatma, Karma, three terms he introduced here. In the last verse, verse number 30, he introduces Adibhutam, Adidaivam, Adiyajnam. Three more. And then they will know all these things. What are these things? He'll describe in next verse, beginning of chapter 8. Prayan, this one is the last one is the most important one that you have to pay attention to. Prayana kalecha mam te viduhu yukta chetasaha. Yukta chetasaha means those whose mind is concentrated with one-pointed devotion to God. Such people, prayana kala means the last moment of our life, departure time. Prayana means travel. Prayana means the journey. Prayana kala means the last moment of this journey of this life. At that time, how to know God? Mam viduhu. Viduhu yukta chetasa. How to know God at the last moment of our lives. What is Adhyatma? What is Brahma? What is Adibhuta? What is Adideva? What is Karma? All these things. Plus, most important, how to know God. How to have the vision of God at the last moment of our lives. All that will have to be known, will be known by those who take refuge in Him. Mama Shritya, previous verse. So now we introduced so many new terms. Adhyajna, Adibhuta, Adideva, Karma, Brahma, all those things. Now that means he is creating an opportunity for Arjuna to ask, what are those things you mentioned? In the next chapter, when chapter 8 begins, Arjuna asks, you mentioned about Adibhuta, Adideva, Adiyajna, Karma, Brahma, all those things, how to know God at the last moment. What are those things? Can you explain it to me? That's how chapter 8 begins. Here Sri Krishna himself plants some questions in Arjuna's mind so that he will ask those questions in the next chapter. Very interesting. Now, in the remaining few minutes, if we begin chapter 8, it will be a little bit longer. So what I will do, I will see if I can point out a few verses in chapter 7. Let's go to the beginning of chapter 7. Chapter 7. Verses 4 to 7. Just a very broad outline. First 3 verses are introductory. The third verse is interesting. Chapter 3. Chapter 3 in verse number, chapter number 7 is Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatamapi siddhanam kaschid mameti tatvataha. That means out of thousands of people, sahasreshu manushyanam madhye, out of thousands of people, kaschid siddhaye yatati, one person here, one person there, strives for siddhi means perfection. Siddhi means perfection or knowledge of God here. in this present context. So they mean success or perfection. Our goal is to know God. To achieve that goal of knowledge of God, a rare person, one here, one there, out of thousands, even makes an effort. Most other people are not interested. They are interested in pursuing the world, how to get happiness and fame and wealth and all those things we know. Only rare person. Yatatamapi siddhanam, of those few who even try, Kaschan mom made it up, but only a few, one person here and there truly knows me in my entirety. Get true knowledge. How rare it is. So his human birth is a very rare gift. And God has given this human birth to us so that we can know him. That's the only purpose of being born as a human being. Well, Sri Ramakrishna said, to love God, to gain knowledge of God, to have devotion to God is the purpose of human life. If we don't do that one, no matter what else we do, we will not have reached the goal. That is verse number 3. Then 4 to 7, 4, 5, 6 and 7, Sri Krishna explains the two aspects of nature. Apara Prakriti, Para Prakriti. 2 to 6 actually. Para Prakriti means the divine presence within us all. Apara Prakriti means the physical and material aspect of our life. The 5 elements and all those that we studied. We don't need to go into detail. The 5 elements of which we are all made, Panchabhuta, and that is one part of our personality, physical part, material part. That's not all. We have the divine part within us, consciousness part within us. That is the Paraprakriti. So that we studied in 4 to 6. Then 7th verse we just now studied. The one that is thread that is common passing through all of us is the divine presence. Like a thread passing through all the beads in a necklace, God's presence is tying us all together into one whole of this creation. Divine presence within us all. One sutra, one thread going through all the beads. So that is verse number 7. 8, 9, 8 and 9, he describes how he is the essence of everything. That will come. That came in the. That will come in the 10th chapter, Vibhuti Yoga. How God is present in everything. That will come in greater detail. But very briefly here in 8 and 9, Sri Krishna says how he is present as the essence of everything. For example, in second line of verse number 8, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. In all the Vedas, Pranava means the Omkara is the most important part. If you ask someone, a Vedic person, what is the most important thing in all the Vedas? He says Om is the most important. Essence of all the Vedas is contained in Om. Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. Like that one. Pravasmi Shashi Surya Yoho. Verse number 8. Shashi means moon. Surya means sun. In sun and moon, the power that makes them shine, that is God's power. I am that power to shine in sun and moon. Like this, he points out certain the presence of God in everything, how we can see God in everything. That is 7 and 8 and 11. Then we go to 16, 17, 18, very important verses. There Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, 4 kinds of people worship me. Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukrishna. One person who is in trouble, artha, some kind of problem has come, is praying to God to remove the problem. Jignasu means a person who is seeking knowledge of God. Knowledge of God, he wants, oh Lord, reveal your true nature to me. Seeking God, knowledge of God. Third person is artharthi, one who seeks money or something else that he does not have. It may be a child, it may be a spouse, it may be a job, it may be something else that he does not have. And he wants to have it, hoping it will bring happiness. He prays to God for that one. He's artharthi. Fourth person who prays to God, seeking nothing, is jnani. That jnani is the best among all these things. Tesham jnani nityayuktaha eka bhaktir vishishyate, verse number 18. 16, 17, 18. There are four kinds of people. What we should do? In the beginning, it is okay to pray to God for something. That is beginning level worship, Vaidhi Bhakti. We can ask God for something that we need or some problem that we want to get rid of. It's okay. But that's not the highest ideal. As our devotion matures, understanding deepens, we have to get rid of the idea of asking. God knows better than I know what I need. Later in verse 22, in chapter 9, he's going to say, I provide everything my devotee needs. So if you remain devoted to God, we don't have to ask. He knows better than what we know what we need. Before I ask him, without my asking him, he will provide what I need, he will protect what I need. So that faith we should have. So gradually we should stop asking. Beginning, it's okay to ask somebody's child is sick, so there's no harm in mother praying to God, my child is sick, please help me, O Lord. It's okay to do that one. It's not bad. He does not say. He says they are doing the right thing. Sukatinaha. To pray to God for any reason in itself a good thing. For whatever reason we pray to God, praying to God is a good thing in itself. But seeking something gradually will go away. As our devotion deepens, our faith in God deepens, then we say, why should I ask? He knows what I need. He will provide what I need without my asking him. He knows. He has promised. So that understanding will come. That's 16, 17, 18. Then verse number 19 is similar to verse number 3. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudevas sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. After many lifetimes, bahunam janmanam ante. Many lifetimes we have already passed. We don't remember. Fortunately, we don't remember. If we remember, we'll go crazy. So mercifully, God has kept us away from those memories of past lives. It will drive us crazy if you know what we did in the past lives. So after many lifetimes, bahunam janmanam ante, at the end of many lifetimes, jnanavan mam prapadyate. A jnani seeking knowledge of God takes refuge in me. We take refuge in God after a long time. After taking refuge in everything else, and they have all failed us repeatedly, then we say, oh, God is the only refuge. To come to that conclusion that God is the only refuge, other things will not save us, money, property, money will not come to us or rescue. To come to that conclusion, develop the conviction takes many lifetimes. Bahunam janmanam ante. Vasudeva sarvamiti. God is all in all. So all in all. To that conclusion, will come to that after a long time. Such a person, Samahatma Sudurlabha, is very rare indeed. So these other verses we did today. And we will stop here. And if you have any questions for a few minutes, we can take our comments. Then next time we begin chapter 8. Anything? Everything was so perfectly clear. Very good. If not, we will do the closing prayer.
Thank you.
Okay. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may all be happy. May all be free from diseases and other problems. May all understand each other. May there be no ill will, and may there be harmony amongst all beings, and may no one suffer from any kind of problems or miseries. May there be peace and joy in our hearts, Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. Adi Bhautika Shanti. May there be peace everywhere in nature. Adi Daivika Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu. Thank you all.
No.